accurate. Joining me now, TV personality and influencer Felicia Lawrence. And we also have Dr. Jeff Gardere, known as America's psychologist. Felicia, let's start with you. I think this is troubling on a lot of levels because it goes right to what we've talked about with Instagram and the problems that we've heard about how people see this as something that it really isn't. We thought Gabby and Brian had this amazing relationship, but when you see the video of her crying now in this police car, you realize that it's not all as it seems.
Absolutely, and we have to be paying more attention to the role that mental health is playing with social media, and certainly what's happening behind the scenes, behind the camera, because social media is a highlight reel for everyone. It's showing the best parts of everyone's life, and so we have to look a little bit deeper and pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes.
It's almost like a marketing tool, and if you aren't showing your highlights, you're not using it right.
Absolutely.
That's the way it appears anyway. Doctor, let's bring you in on this because I think we all knew that Facebook makes us angrier and it's toxic for young girls, and yet now we know Facebook knew it. I guess the question is, why aren't they doing more about it?
Well, they certainly need to be doing much more about it. I find it very interesting. They're saying that they want to be transparent. Well, being transparent after you've been kind of caught out there is kind of disingenuous, isn't it? But they seem to be committed to letting parents know, and they should let parents know, that 32% of teen girls felt bad who were on Instagram. We know that there's increased anxiety, depression, eating disorders that come from being on social media. So certainly it's great that Facebook and their Instagram, distributor or a partner are starting to do things about letting people know what's important as far as being harmful. But now, more than anything, they have to be able to give us more suggestions, more tips, and more warnings as to where social media is good, but certainly where it can go bad.
Right. Doctor, you mentioned a lot of the things we know about that are bad, Felicia, and yet we use it anyway. And it almost seems like we can't quit it.
We can't quit it, but maybe it's not something to be quit, okay? Social media, like many things in life, it has its pros and it has its cons. And so it is also a place for people to connect with their friends and their family. It's a great place for marginalized people to have a voice. It's an amazing place for you to be able to also hear the pros and cons of different ideas that are certainly out there that people need to be studying. So it can be a great place for people to come together and, I guess, grow and thrive and flourish, but to be aware of some of the downsides. I think that's what was so important with this article and with this information, this research.
Doctor, I don't know if you use the professional diagnosis for this, but do you think people are addicted to it?
I think that they are addicted. Of course, it's not a sort of like a DSM-5 addiction, but it's something where there are certain people who have addicted personalities may latch on to this. It's almost a self-medication, if you will, to try to feel better. But now that we know that there can be harmful effects, not always, but that there can be harmful effects if you're trying to feed some sort of happiness in your life artificially, and it only makes you sadder and sadder, then it really does tell us that there is much, much more that the social media companies need to do in order to prop up, if you will, some of the healthier aspects, and to be able to guide parents, guide young people in how to use social media in a positive way.
It's a full-time job almost. Felicia, what do you think this has revealed about us as a society? Did we just maybe think we were more civil and social media has brought out the anger and the division in us?
I think social media a lot of times shows the mirror of who we are as a society. And as I stated before, there are good things and then there are bad things. And to the doctor's point, I mean, you need to be able to monitor and you need to be able to protect your child. And I don't think that we should, it sounds cliche, but I think we do have to remind parents that you need to be talking to your child. You are the greatest influence that they will ever have. And so I don't think that we should still highlight that and make sure that we prop that up as well and inform parents as well.
It is. Doctor, I'll give you the last word on this. Your advice and your tips for parents out there, kids as well, and even grandparents.
Yeah, it used to be a thing where we would say, give the kids as much independence as possible. But we've been through a pandemic. We've seen what's happened, how young people have really suffered through this with increased anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and so on. So more than anything else, I agree with my colleague that as parents, we have to step in, know exactly what our kids are watching, right, what they're part of, and how we can help them have a healthier experience.
That's great stuff. Dr. Gardir, America's psychologist, and it's great to have Felicia Lawrence with us as well, TV personality and influencer. Thanks for your time, both of you. Have a good weekend.